Now the final version of this function that I want to show you uses what's called a select statement or a select case statement. So it's going to be very similar. It should be a pretty quick one. So let's just copy our version 2 function. Let's make v3, making sure we update the output and the function name. And the select case statement, what it's going to do is replace this inner if statement. And a select case is basically like saying, we know that there are 3 cases, either method equals D, method equals S, or method equals M. Since we have 3 cases that could be, we can just select which of the 3 cases applies. So we're going to change our code a little bit. We're going to say select case method. All right. At the end, we're going to do end select. So here, you just have to know the syntax for these things. Select case is how we start. Method tells it what variable that we're interested in. And then the end select tells us what we're done with our statement. So the first thing we do then is we, instead of if method equals D, we say case D. So it's just a small change in the code. So case D versus case S versus case M. We don't need our end if. And now we've replaced what were if statements, if then, else if then, else if then, with select case statements. So we tell it that we want method, and then we tell it the different values of method we want it to look at. So it's really doing the same logical steps, just in a select statement. And I use if statements in whatever I program. The select case, it's something I want to show you because it's an equivalent way to do it. And you might see other code in the future and say, what is this select case? And you'll know that it's really related to a series of if statements just when you have only a certain number of things that could possibly be. So as a final thing, let's just make sure we got it working. So we'll flip back over, change this to v3. And let's just check a couple values. So all of our functions are moving together. If we change that, it doesn't matter. If we change this to Bob, they tell us to change everything and make a valid input. All right, so we've seen a couple different ways to use if statements, nested if statements with and functions. It's worth mentioning that if you want to use ORs as well to do logical tests, that's acceptable too. Just like with an and in an if statement, you can use or in an if statement. All right, and we also saw select case as an alternative way to select a number of different possibilities or scenarios that you might want